Isolation day 64, Thursday the 21st of May. I hope you're all doing well and you're looking after yourselves. It's been a glorious day. I'm slightly red after the sun that we've had today. What I'd like to do today is look at a couple of bits of information. I want to give you an overview of the comparison of the way that Medtronic looks at your carb to insulin ratio and the way that the Mastering Diabetes teams look at your carb and insulin ratio. And I want to show you both of those for myself for the last couple of weeks. Okay, so a few days before and whilst I've been on the low-fat plant-based whole food diet. I think that'll be quite interesting. I then want to kind of leave you with an overview of the number of times that my blood sugars have been low, just to show how much my insulin resistance has reduced. So this is my spreadsheet, which shows a number of bits which I'll reveal as we go along. So here is, and I thought this was useful to see, the number of times my blood glucose has been taken throughout this process. Since I started the low-fat plant-based whole food, I've taken my blood 191 times, and that is in the 5, 10, 11 days. Yes, quite a few times. I just thought that was really good to look at, because obviously I switched my CGM off because I didn't want my blood sugar to be affected by the fact that the CGM would suspend my pump. I want to actually be seeing what's going to happen to my blood sugars over this period of time. And yes, that you might consider that a bit risky, but as we saw from the first 50 days of me on this kind of process, I think I came to the conclusion that I was really relying on the CGM, and I don't want to do that at the moment. So let's have a look. Here is carbs consumed over those days, and you can see my carbs have increased as I've been along the process, which is as expected. My Medtronic look at your carb to bolus ratio, and that's what all of their reports will give you. As we go along here, the carb to bolus ratio is increasing, which is great to see, and this is all part and parcel of the Mastering Diabetes process, which is that you need less insulin to cover more carbs. And I'm seeing that. You can clearly see it throughout. Now, what I'd like to show you is the Mastering Diabetes view, which is they like you to look at total insulin consumed in the day, which is fine, but they then look at your total insulin usage, so your carb to total insulin usage ratio, and they like to view that as a whole, which makes sense as well. I mean, both ways are fine to a certain extent, but the reality is for them to gauge how well you are doing on their program, you have to look at total insulin usage, because they're expecting your basal and your bolus to reduce. And again, you can see across the board as we go through the days, we're at the 21st, the carb to total insulin ratio is 9.2. So 9.2 grams of carbs per unit of insulin, which for the day, considering where I came from, which was 1 to 2, that's 3 times the amount, over 3 times the amount, which again, in 11 days, that's pretty impressive, isn't it? Okay, I wanted to show that to you because I thought that was a really good gauge of what we're trying to look at. Now, what I also wanted to point out was that my calorie intake, Kelly very kindly commented on one of my videos on here, and Kelly is from the Mastering Diabetes Facebook group, and she very kindly commented and said, are you seriously only taking 600 calories in a day? And I had 600 odd calories for this day here. Now, what I hadn't noticed is that I hadn't included my jelly babies on that day, so actually it took it up to 966 calories. Even that probably isn't ideal, okay? And what I wanted to say here actually is I'm really strictly trying to stick to having breakfast, lunch and evening meal. I'm trying to avoid having snacks in between, because I think it will complicate the matter that I need to wait 3 hours after I eat to be able to realistically assess how well my insulin is performing to what I'm eating. Now, it does depend upon things like my carb counting to be accurate, but I'm using Chronometer for that. As I've said, Chronometer I'm not entirely convinced is spot on, but let's continue with it. At least it will be consistent. So what I'm saying is my calorie intake will increase. Okay, I will make sure that I'm taking more calories as we go along this process. This is the other report I really wanted to show you, and you can see this is the Medtronic report, and it gives you an overview of your blood sugar results on every day, and I've run that for the last couple of weeks, and you can see 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th was before, so look, barely any lows, yeah, a few there, but look at that. If we're talking about showing the fact that I'm becoming less insulin resistant, that shows it, doesn't it? That shows the sheer number of times that I've been low. I thought that was really useful to show you, because I think you need to be aware that this is what will happen to you. This is what you need to be prepared for. Do I think it's a problem? No. Have I managed it? Yeah. And do I think it's absolutely the right thing to be doing? 100%. I'm going to be showing you in the next few days my 2-week analysis of the changes in my insulin usage as a whole, and I'm still seeing it. I'm still seeing changes. I'm still adjusting my basal rates. I'm still adjusting my carb to insulin ratios. And yes, I know it's early days, but you can see if I'm 300% more sensitive, that's an amazing thing. That is exactly the point of starting this process. And the fact that I can eat fruits and vegetables and potatoes and stuff that I couldn't even dream of eating before without having big spikes in my blood sugar is great. That's a real change for me. Look after yourselves. Please, if you've got any comments, please leave them below. Please give me a like if you like this video, and of course subscribe. Just to say thank you to anyone that's joined recently. I know that I sort of introduced myself on the Mastering Diabetes Facebook group, and a number of you joined. I really appreciate that. Any advice you can give me, I would really appreciate that as well. I hope you're getting some value from it, and just thanks very much.